Hi guys. So as today is Valentine's Day, the day that I'm recording this, I thought it would be very fitting to do another funny one-star reviews video, which is where I take books that are popular and loved by most of the population, and then I find the people that hate those books and I read their hilarious ranting one-star reviews to you guys. The book that I have picked is 50 Shades of Grey. For those of you who have no idea what 50 Shades of Grey is about, it is an erotic story about this very innocent, naive girl who meets this like super rich guy, and he's into doing it in all sorts of funky ways. I will admit that I've not actually read this series myself. Normally I pick books that I have read when I do these funny one-star reviews to make sure I don't give away any spoilers, but if I'm being perfectly honest, not too concerned about giving spoilers away on this one. All that said, let's get into the reviews. The first person says, you know, I was beginning to wonder if I needed to change some of my 2-star books to 1-star. I was thinking I might not ever personally read a book worthy of 1 star, and I was messing up my scale by giving some of the more lame books I've read 2 stars instead of 1. Thank you, E.L. James, for proving to me there was something worth waiting for, something that truly exemplifies the meaning of terrible. Next, we have, the only thing that made the first 4% of this book tolerable was the fact that I read it aloud to my younger brother, and his frequent commentary was amusingly distracting. Once he gave up, however, I had to travel the rest of the road alone. What a painful journey it was. This one says, what in the heck just happened? Did I really read that? Oh my god, I did. I did read that. The next person writes, garbage. Absolutely horrifying, utter trash. A waste of trees, bookshelf space, and precious, oh so very precious brain cells. The next one does have a curse word, so I'm going to edit it out, but it says, heads up. If any of you effers comment at the bottom of this review and say, you don't understand BDSM, I will hunt you down and make you eat your computer, plus the mouse, plus the keyboard, plus any other internet-connected devices in your home, including, but not limited to, iPhones, iPods, iPads, Androids, game consoles, and e-readers. This book is not accurate or healthy. This next one, I'm just taking an excerpt. It says, well, I think it's safe to say that I'm buying myself a chastity belt and I'm joining a nunnery. This next one is one of my favorites. It says, I was basically dared to read this with the impeccable logic of, how can you know it's that bad if you haven't had a chance to form your own opinion? What I should have pointed out in response to the dare would be that I know perfectly well that syphilis is a nasty disease without having to need to go and experience it myself. The next person says, there was once a woman who read Twilight, thought Edward isn't abusive enough, and spilled her longing into a fanfic. This next one says, you might enjoy this book if you're stranded on a desert island and this washes up on shore, you've been a very bad girl and need to be punished, you swoon to songs about stalkers like Every Breath You Take, no one has visited you down there in a very long time, you enjoy listening to your inner goddess fight it out with your subconscious, or you are not familiar with libraries and bookstores and you didn't know you had other options. Speaking of subconscious, this next one is one of my favorites. It says, E.L. James has no idea that there's a difference between a subconscious and a conscience. Anna is constantly fighting with her subconscious, who is some sort of mix between a prudish librarian and a Ricky Lake audience member. You a hoe. She's that little voice that's always telling Anna what she's doing wrong. You know, your conscience. Your subconscious is just what it sounds like, below consciousness. You don't know it's there, and you definitely don't converse with it. This person says, I hate myself for reading this. This next one is funny to me, just imagining this person reading this book. It says, as a father to a daughter and a grandfather to a granddaughter, I find this highly offensive and destructive. Women need to be able to support themselves and be men's equals, not submerging themselves in Cinderella fantasies. This person says, nothing but poorly written trash. I think I could have placed my dog on the keyboard to randomly press keys and it would have ended up a better book. This next one's kind of long. It says, seriously, worst book ever. My friends raved about it. I'm now wondering why I'm friends with them. It's that pathetic. The popularity of this book makes me embarrassed for my entire gender and a bit worried about the next generation of women, and all of humanity in fact. Role model women throughout history are currently spinning in their graves. This book did change my life in one way. It gave me a new social label. If anyone likes this book, I call them Shades of Greyers, with all that implies, and drop them a notch. I actually profile people based on their approval of this awful book. Speaking of friends recommending this book, it says, I picked this book up at the insistence of a friend. To preserve the friendship, I have never mentioned it again, as I don't trust myself to provide a mild-mannered review. This one says, the only thing more shoddily written than this book is its sequel. But I bought that too. We'll probably submerge it in a lake at next opportunity to erase all evidence that I ever read this dribble. This next person writes, the writing. Oh, the writing. My daughter, who's 6, has probably written better Disney princess fan fiction. This person says, The most significant reaction I have to this book and its popularity is crushing disappointment. Primarily disappointment that our society is so ill-read at this point and so borderline illiterate that people are swooning over this amazing book. This one says, the only thing E.L. James can write well are car chases, and that's probably not what you're here for. The rest of this is terrible. I find this next one amazing. It says, before all the media hype, 50 Shades of Grey was recommended to me by an 86-year-old lady, and then in parentheses they have a question mark, and then continues to say, I snuggled down with my Kindle and started to read it. After a few dozen pages, I assumed I'd purchased the wrong book. Certainly not what a sweet conservative granny type would recommend. I checked. I was wrong. I had the right book, and sweet little old lady informed me the second book in the trilogy was even better. This person says, I think I would have enjoyed licking the bottom of a dumpster behind a Taco Bell in the middle of summer more than this piece of trash. And lastly, I have to give credit to my hubby because he found this one, and it says, according to my Kindle search function, characters roll their eyes 41 times, Anna bites her lip 35 times, Christian's lips quirk up 16 times, Christian cocks his head to one side 17 times, characters purse their lips 15 times, and characters raise their eyebrows a whopping 50 times. Add that to 80 references to Anna's anthropomorphic subconscious, which also rolls its eyes and purses its lips. Anyway, that is it for my funny 1-star reviews for 50 Shades of Grey. Let me know which one was your favorite. I don't know, there's some pretty good ones. The syphilis one was pretty funny to me. If you liked the video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Click the little bell icon to get notified when I post new videos, and you can check out some more of my funny 1-star reviews right over here. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye.